Okay, looks like we're live. Um, Not picking up anything. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and trust that you guys are hearing it or seeing it. Um, okay, so where we left off, I spoke about writing down the number of years that you've been working to where you are right now and what your average salary was. It doesn't have to be exact, just a number that comes close to what you think it was. And from there, we were going to basically look at that and say, that's the amount of money that you've had as a resource in your execution. Appreciate it. Now I know we're there and live. So if you did that, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? When you look at it, how much money really goes through our hands in a month, in a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20, whatever the case may be. And when you don't really pay attention or think about it, pardon me, it's amazing how much it is. And you kind of go, where did it all go? What all happened to it? And what I'm here to share with you is that we live in a system. Our system is called capitalism, right? And so, it's a free enterprise system, and it's set up for folks to basically create an economy or wealth, generate wealth and build and kind of whatever you can imagine you can do to pursue it. The other side of that, there are folks like what I'm doing here, and cable TV and department stores. Those they're set up to provide something for you where you spend that money. And so it's our job to become knowledgeable, understand this process, and modify how much we spend, right? And so oftentimes, if you don't have a destination in mind, it's difficult to plot a map to get there, right? And so the things like credit, things like um, in, let's see, continuing education credits or taking courses to enhance or learn, be more effective and efficient in what you're doing in your career. Those things you really don't even think about unless you are aware that you're doing it for a reason to be able to create more income into your household, right? And so then when you create the income into your household, now what you're looking to do is modify and spend the least amount of money that you can on those things that I identify as having no redeemable value. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not important to you. So, for instance, if we take the gas bill, right? So you got to pay your gas bill, right? So that you can cook on your stove, heat your water. Um, what else? Heat your house, right? So that you can have certain comforts. But now, just because you have to have those comforts in the wintertime, do you have to have the thermostat up on 80, right? Or do you need to run the shower before you actually get into the shower and kind of waste the water and the heat? Do you need to, some folks use their gas burners as another form of heat, right? So if you turn the temperature down, right, and use less gas and maybe put on a sweater so that you're comfortable, now what you're spending every month to the gas company is reduced, right? So that difference then you take and you put on top of your bills or to purchase or save so that you can purchase an asset. Great. So again, I'm not using a board because for whatever reason this thing is flipped and I can't really. Maybe I can illustrate backwards or whatever. But um, if you did that exercise, did you find it to be amazing? Was it really interesting how much money you've had coming in? And so without really realizing it, there's a lot of money coming into our household and a whole lot of money going out. And one of the things that I'm going to show you how to do is just slightly redirect it, right? So that you put it to a use where you earn or where it works for you. And then, um, thanks, Dion. And then you can set your life up in a way that you prosper and benefit and enjoy. You get the most benefit out of those dollars that you spend, right? So yeah, I'll deal with that later, Dion. I did everything I could, and it required downloading some apps, and wasn't really able to get those to happen. So I'll work on that between now and the next video. Okay. So having said that, one of the things that I tell a story about Little Red Wagon, my Little Red Wagon story, right? And so there are, I was making this money, and I was kind of moving bricks, cinder blocks from one place to the other. Guys were working on a house and fixing it up. And I was helping them out with my wagon by moving the bricks back and forth for them from the pile to where they were working. And they would give me a quarter or 50 cents or what have you. Then I sat with them and overheard them talking about fishing. And of course, folks tell their great fish stories. And I went and rolled over a log or lift up a board, and there were worms. And I would put them in a little Dixie cup, and I would bring them over and sell them to them. They would give me another quarter or 50 cents. So what did I do? First thing I did was I went to the corner store, and I bought some Mary Janes and some spaghetti candy and some penny cookies and, popsicles if it was summertime and those kind of things. And, we had those little brown bags. And so one day I did this, and I walked in the house, and my mom asked me, where'd you get all this money? And I said, I work for it. Those guys over there that are working on those houses, they pay me. And she said, oh, okay. She said, so have you saved any of that money? And I said, well, no, I haven't saved any. And she says, well, you should start saving some of it. And I said to her, I was about 8 years old, and I said to her, I said, Mom, why do I need to save it when I get it every day? And when I thought about that, it was really interesting. It kind of set the pace or the bar for how I thought. Now, I don't know if it's commonplace that we think that way, but it seems that a lot of us, we get a job, there's a paycheck coming every 2 weeks or whatever the case may be. We kind of know it's going to happen. And so we go, okay, well, I'll save, or I'll take care of, putting something aside next week. Next week never really comes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to kind of work this out with me. It's flipped, but here we go. So if saves, it would be, let's see, so we're going to start off here with earnings, right? So where's my black pen? Get my pens here. So let's start off with earnings, right? So earnings, you know what? I'm not even going to try and do this. That's crazy. So earnings would be over here, right? In the first spot. Right? And the next spot would be savings. The next spot would be investing. And then the next spot would be expenses and luxuries. Right? So you got earnings, savings, investing, and luxury. Now this is what I call the lifeline of your money. I'm going to outline for you exactly the formula for building wealth, taking money that you earn every week, every 2 weeks, every month. And this is the life cycle of those dollars, right? And then let's talk about how many of us do that. So the first thing that happens is you earn those dollars, right? Get that paycheck. The next thing that's supposed to happen in the life cycle of your money is you should put a little bit aside, right? Let's just say maybe 5% for those short-term savings, those things that you may need, shoes or clothes or a coat or whatever the case may be. Something short, that you need to get, relatively soon, next month, next 2 months or whatever, right? And then you have the next category, which is investing. Now, depending upon where you are starting out, that amount can be anywhere from 10% of those dollars to, let's say, 50% of those dollars, right? So you say, wow, that's a lot. But think about this. How many of you guys got out of college, high school or college, and you stayed at your parents' house? You lived at home for maybe a year or two, or maybe even longer, right? So in doing that, you didn't have what are one of your two largest expenses. You didn't have your two largest expenses are going to be housing and transportation. So now if you're living at home with mom and dad, whatever the case may be, you kind of reduced or eliminated that major expense that you pay for living, and that is housing. So now, rather than take the money you would spend for housing and buy things with it, you would be investing in. So that's how this number can actually end up as large as 10%, right? 10% to 50%, right, of the money you bring in. And then lastly, you should use the remainder of your money to take care of your expenses and your luxuries, right? And so whatever that percentage is, we'll just call it X because of all these other numbers. Now, let me ask you a question. Tell me if this makes sense to you in comparison to the story I shared, right? So I say to my mom, why should I save? I get it every day, right? And so that's kind of the way we live our life. We've gone to school. We've, went to college. We went to a technical school or law school or medical school, whatever the case may be. We feel like we have just spent all of our life in school, studying, focusing, cramming, up all hours of night, studying and preparing for that one thing that we're doing to allow us to earn another level of income. And so by the time we get that first job, we are excited. We are jumping with joy, especially if it's the one in your career of study, right? And you make the money that you enjoy making or think you should make in that career. So we get that big, fat, juicy paycheck, right? What is the very first thing we do? We know our parents have told us, or we read it somewhere, or it was one of those courses in school that they just kind of glossed over, right? We know we should save something. We know we should put something aside. But no, we don't do that. So what we do is we take those dollars and we go from here. We think about saving, right? And then we go, well, but I'll do it next time. I'll get it next paycheck. And then we come on over here to investing. Now, a lot of people think investing and savings are kind of the same thing. So it's like, well, that's a little confusing. So I'll get somebody to help me, but I'll do that next time too. And then they come over here and they deal with all their expenses and their luxuries. That pair of shoes, that bag, that outfit, that car. The car that I went to school and went to college and, that got me to and from, but it was breaking down and all those things. Now's the time to replace that. So you go and you do what? You take out a loan and you get a car, right? And so here's where those dollars end up. They end up over here in the expense luxury category, right? So look, I know it's flipped, but bear with me, right? Get a piece of paper and write it out, so you can see it. But bear with me. We'll work this out the next time we come back. So now, your money just, essentially, you killed it. You just killed the value of your money. Why? Because you took it and you didn't deposit it anywhere where it would work for you. Now, you say savings in this day and age is probably what, 0.5%, 1%. You get a money market certificate, and it's probably 2.5% or 3%. You got to tie it up for 5 years or 10 years, whatever the case may be. I'm not advocating that you do that one way or the other. I'm just saying that this is the lifeline of your money, right? And it's a formula that if you follow it, it will yield a result that will benefit you very well, right? So you don't go here. You go over here to investing. Now, that sounds a little more complicated. So you bypass that one, right? And you take all of those disposable dollars that you could have bought some silver, you could have bought some gold, you could have bought a couple shares of stock, you could have invested in your 401k and your new job. There are a number of things you could have done, but you didn't. And so what you did was you spent it on those expenses that are necessary for you to live from month to month to month or what have you. But even worse, you bought a luxury that the minute you bought it and took it out of the store, those dollars essentially died. They have no more life. they have no more value. They can provide no more benefit to you. And the evidence of this, if you've ever tried to do it, is something that you bought that you paid a lot of money for. It had a lot of value to you in terms of how bad you wanted it and what have you. And now you realize, you know what? I think I'll put that on eBay, or I'll put it on one of these sites where you can take a picture and it blasts through the world and sell it. Only to realize that you probably can get a third at best of what you paid for it. You killed the money. And so I'm not saying to you that you shouldn't have luxuries and handle your expenses. Keep your expenses low and kind of put your luxuries on the back burner for right now. Establish a foundation of building a savings and investment account, right? So because these are two places where over the long run, and we'll talk about this phenomenal concept where actually Einstein quoted as saying the most compounding interest is the most phenomenal concept known to man. Now that's kind of intriguing for me. Here's a guy, discovered the theory of relativity and, physicists and all the mathematical equations that he's been credited with, presenting us with as solutions for a lot of the things that we deal with, quantum physics and what have you in our universe. But compounding interest was one of the most phenomenal concepts known to man, is what he said. And so here's the beauty of that. All you have to do is take a little bit consistently every day or every month, right? And just put it aside in a place where it earns an interest rate. And before you know it, over time, it will just grow and grow and grow and grow. And so the worst thing we could do is neglect these two areas right here, savings and investing. And I tell you, investing is not that great of a concept that either of you can't understand, grasp, and put it into action. And so, again, that's one of the things that I'll share with you. Folks, I did not go from 88. Well, I told you I was going to tell you the details, right? I didn't go from that huge amount of debt deficit to building wealth and creating a net worth of just under $750,000 in such a short period of time by having to trade my physical time for labor to do that. I use leverage and compounding interest and equity and all of those things that this system provides for us to take advantage of in order to grow our money, right? And so, and I want to keep this short, right? I'm going to go about another 10, 12 minutes. And so if you have some questions, please type them out and I'll try and get to them. So essentially what I wanted to really focus on here is, let me switch over here, right? Excuse me. Is I wanted to get you to begin to think that, yeah, you got a job and you've had it for a while and it's pretty certain that you're going to still have it. But how are you using those dollars to position, how are you positioning those dollars to benefit you when you decide that you don't want to work any longer, or heaven forbid, something happened where you lose your job or can't go to work anymore, right? What kind of a nest egg do you have in order for you to bridge the gap? Now, remember I said that I had a situation, well, I don't know if I shared it, but I had a situation where because of medical conditions, I was out of work. I was on bed rest for 2.5 years. Not consecutively, but over a 2.5 year period, I was on bed rest. I could not. They basically relegated me to the bed. So working and making money and running a business just wasn't in the equation. I had to let my body rest and heal. But because I had assets, guess what? There was still revenue coming in, right? And so this here is a formula. Again, let's go real quick. Earnings. Right? Earnings are those dollars that you earn for your expertise, your skill, your training that you trade for an employer's dollars, right? It's your paycheck. Savings is the next part of this equation. This is the little bit you put aside to get those things, that you want to get in the next month or 2 or 3, dependent vacations, whatever the case may be. Investments. Investments we look at for way down the road, when the kids come along. You plan your family. When, weddings, vacations, significant vacations, your retirement. Those are the kind of things that you are thinking about when you deal with investment, because you need those to, that's going to be long term. It's not something you're going to take out and put back in, take out and put back in. And so that's real important, right? Earnings is real important. Savings is important. Investing is important. These luxuries and expenses, they don't have any real redeemable value, right? So let's just take, for instance, you have a cell phone, and I'm only doing this for the sake of numbers. Let's say your cell phone bill is $100 a month. Now, don't get me wrong. In this day and age, we need all the things that, most of the things that cell phones provide us. But if you spend $100 a month times 12 months, somebody tell me now, how much is that? $1,200, right? If you take $1,200 times 10 years, that's how much? $12,000. Now, we talk about our working lifetime being about 40 years, from 25 to 65. So now if you multiply $12,000 times 4, right? 4 years, it's going to be, right? 12 plus 12 is 24. 24 twice is 48, right? That's $48,000 over your working lifetime on one item. One item, a phone. No redeemable value. There is nothing about that phone that is going to provide you value towards your retirement. There's nothing about that phone that's going to provide you value towards, college for your kids. And so you have to begin to look at your expenses like that. You have to quantify them over the number of years that you're going to be paying that bill, right? And so that's not to say that a cell phone is not important. I would be the last person to say that. But that is to say that you got to find a way to reduce that expense to the lowest possible number, because Verizon is wealthy enough. As a matter of fact, they have buildings and stadiums and, all kind of stuff named with their name on it, right? You don't get a dividend the first from that. So we go down the list and just start slashing and dashing all of these numbers. And then we turn them around and we make them work for you. All right. And so a part of what I do is help you put together a blueprint, looking at the numbers that you're currently dealing with right now. I don't care what your salary is. If you only bring home $1,000 a month and you say, well, Coach King or Larry, how am I going to find a place to live? I don't know. But you can't find a place that you have to spend, at least, 50% of that $1,000. You're going to have to maybe get a roommate or do some shared housing. As we know, there are a number of cultures who do that, and they do it very frequently. And before you know it, they are owning the homes, and then they co-op together in another home, and before you know it, they own that home. And because your largest expense is your living expense, your housing expense, you've got to reduce it. Now, when I say to you, I can help you take your life from ordinary to extraordinary, it requires something. It requires your participation. And so I share these stories with you to really begin to get you to start thinking differently about money. Money is simply a tool. It's simply a tool. If you're a carpenter, you need a hammer. Now, if you don't have a hammer, you're going to have a tough time banging that nail in that board for it to connect to another board. Money is a tool. If you do not start to take the time and invest in yourself in knowledge and information, and then a way to apply this knowledge in order to maximize the dollars that come into your household every month, you will end up broke at 65, and you'll have to work. You'll have to work. No question about it. And I didn't make it up. How many folks do you know close to you, or friends of folks that you know, or whomever, who are going out to work every day, 60, 65, 70, 75 years of age? So get this. While college students and folks in their 20s are not my target audience, because they're going to conquer the world, they're going to live forever, and a job is what they're going to have until eternity, and I can't tell them that they need to prepare for anything. How do I know that? I was that guy, right? But for those that do hear this, imagine starting out at 25 and you stay a few years at home with mom and dad or whoever the case may be. and you save what you would be paying $500 or $600 or $700 a month in rent. You save and invest that. And you do that for 3 or 4 years, right? Let's say $500 a month times 12 months is what? $6,000, right? $6,000 times 3 years is $18,000, right? That's just one line item. So now you got a great start, right? And so this is the way I want you to get to thinking. It does not matter how much you make. It's great, when you can, kind of put your stuff out there. Yeah, I'm a 6-figure guy or gal, and I'm a business owner, or I'm an attorney, or I'm a doctor. When the statistic is quoted, it doesn't say upper middle class, lower middle class, 1%ers, poverty level. It says 95, 96% of all Americans. Folks, knowledge about how many athletes do we know who make 10, 20, 70, $100 million over a 5 or 10 year career and are broke in 3 to 5 years? How many lottery winners do we know who make, and this is another statistic, every lottery owner to date who's earned $5 million or more by hitting the lottery is broke in 5 to 7 years. Why? Because they didn't do anything to get the 5 other than get lucky, the 5 million, right? So they don't have strategies and techniques and what have you. So here we go. Understand, I think somebody spelled it out. Earnings is what you do. That's your reward for the investment you've made in your knowledge, in your skill set, in your understanding, and in your participation in the academic system, right? So generally, your earnings is going to be somewhere commensurate with close to your knowledge or what you've earned. Here's the piece that you've got to know. The savings, the lifeblood of your money. The investings, the lifeblood of your money. The long-term lifeblood. This thing over here, expenses and luxuries, this is where it dies. This is where, we got to have the fine car because it shines and growls when you put your foot on the gas. We got to have the latest clothes. We got to walk around here in red-bottom shoes. Folks, when you are building, you are only looking for you're only looking for the purpose, the intended purpose of the item. The intended purpose of the item. Pair of shoes, they're really just to protect your feet from stones, nails, glass, rocks, whatever. Whether they're Jordans, whether they're Payless, whether they are Sears, JCPenney, I don't care. You get the cheapest ones that will hold up the longest that you can get. Clothes, you can get gabardine, you can get silk, linen, all that stuff. Guess what? In 10 years, you can be expanded enough or shrank enough that you ain't gonna be able to wear them anyway. While you're building, put your focus here. Okay? Look, I'm gonna sign off. I promised I wouldn't keep you guys too long. I know I got started a little late, so I think I'm probably at somewhere around 30 minutes. So if there are any questions, guys, type them in real quick, and I will do what I can to answer them for you. Any questions? I have to shift my process of thinking about my money working for me instead of me making money to pay debt. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well put, Dion. Because when you shift your thinking and you recognize debt with the interest rate attached to it, dude, it's going to kill it. Look, banks are in the business of selling money, and they sell money through loans, CDs, savings accounts, and they now they have investment grade products that they can sell you, like life insurance and annuities and those kinds of things. But banks they are not your friend. Now, if you have to make a choice, and we all need to bank somewhere, right? What's the best institution to bank in? Credit union. Why? It's a membership-based entity, and as a membership-based entity, it's an advocate entity, not a commercial or to extract from you entity. So your fees are going to be different. The fee structures are going to be different. Those are just some of the things, the advantages you get. And so when we start getting into this process, right, we're going to start shifting look, when folks come to me and tell me, yeah, well, I do pretty good with my money. And I was like, okay, great. So what are some of the strategies you use? Well, one of the things I do is I make sure every time a 0% credit card comes out, I shift all my money from that credit card to that credit card. And now I get it for 0, and I'll ride that out for 12 months or however long the promotion is. And I said, okay, great. So let me ask you, do you still pay the minimum payment? Oh, yeah, I pay the minimum payment. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. I really don't care. When I was in debt and I had credit card debt, it didn't matter what the interest rate was because I was paying $3,000 a month over what my minimum payments were on all my credit cards. I was paying $3,000 a month, so I was destroying interest rates. It didn't matter what the interest rate was. I was blowing it away. So when you learn how to, and then I never got in that situation again. All my credit cards, and I have about 5, and I could I could probably buy a house with my credit cards, the 5 of them together, if I just went and did what they call a cash advance. That's the kind of credit line that I've been blessed to have. But you will never know because of the car I drive. You'll never know because of the house I live in. It serves my basic function, right? So I get to live my life and enjoy it as opposed to pay for an object or item that depreciates the moment I take it off the lot, right? So Dion says, great way to think about banks and business and the business of money. Keisha wants to know, when's the next class? All right, you're getting ready to get off of here. Tell me where we're going to meet you at again so we can hear some more about this. Brenda Haywood watching you. Thanks, Brenda. I appreciate that. Very good, guys. Thanks for your comments. And so I'm going to sign off tonight. My next class will be, got me calling them classes, right? Will be tomorrow. Did you find the information helpful? Was some of the things we talked about in this brief session, was it helpful? And if so, let me know. If you have any questions, shoot them out there. I'll try and address it over this next few, 12, 14-day period. I'll try to address those things. And really, I'm going to spend a lot of time really talking about mindset and shifting, why it's important. Because if the way you see, if you change your mind about how you see something, then those things that you're looking at will change, right? And so that's what we want to do. We want to totally redefine how we look at money and the benefits that it can afford us in our life. Okay, so somebody says, bear with me, I'm working. Stephanie says, okay, great. Yes, great info, Wendy. Thanks. Good to hear from you. Yes, Dion. Any question, guys? I'm getting ready to sign off. Tomorrow, I will fire it up again. I will probably do something after work hours, so we'll get here again together at around 8 o'clock, and we'll go from there. And tomorrow, what I want to talk about is I want to talk about the power of credit. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about leveraging credit and why it's really important, right? There are a couple folks out there who I respect, and they are gurus in the industry. But a lot of what they teach is around what they teach is around credit is bad. So let me share something with you. There is absolutely no way you can really build real wealth, sustainable generational wealth, without leveraging credit. Without leveraging credit. So think about this. For every dollar you have, the bank, when you have good credit, will give you 100. So if you have $1,000, they'll give you $100,000 or $10,000. I'm sorry, right? What is it? I don't know. My math is off. But anyway, 8 o'clock tomorrow, Wendy. 8 o'clock. You can relate, Wendy. What is that? What can you relate to, Dion? I've been doing it all wrong. You know what? Don't feel bad, and definitely don't beat yourself up, Wendy, because we all have. Why? Because we're in a system that teaches us and perpetuates the success of the system. So what you have to do is get on the other side of capitalism. You have to get on the side of capitalism where you are offering a product, investing in products and services, or precious metals, or real estate, or businesses. You've got to get on the side where you are offering something to provide a solution to the greater public or general public, as opposed to taking your money and buying something, thus killing it, right? I'm going to use red. So we really have been duped into thinking that, we watch these shows, Cribs, and we watch Housewives of New Jersey, Atlanta, DC, LA. And, guess what? Do you think that those folks are wearing their own clothes? They're wearing clothes that someone gives them so that they can do what? Attract the interest of the viewers so that they'll go out and buy those things. You're being set up every which way but sideways to separate from your money. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, yes. And that's the time we'll do it. So remember, until tomorrow, right? Just okay, here's an assignment. Here's an assignment, guys, really quickly. I want you to write down every penny you spend tomorrow, between tonight and tomorrow when we get together at 8 o'clock. I want you to write down every penny you spend. I'm not talking about the water you use in the shower. I'm talking about when you buy the can of soda or the juice, or, pardon me, if you happen to go shopping. I want you to write down everything you spend tomorrow just to keep track of it. And tell me if you're not surprised by how easy it was to spend it and how much it was without you realizing it, right? And so this consciousness is going to really put you in a place where you begin to think about every expenditure that you put out there, right? All right. So tomorrow at 8 o'clock, we're going to talk about the power of credit and how to leverage it. If you guys have any questions or anything that you'd like for me to answer or speak to, please share it so that I can be prepared to put it out for you. Tomorrow we'll probably go about, because it'll only be one session tomorrow, we'll go about 45 minutes and we'll go from there. Hey, look, I am excited. Today is the first day. It's the launch of Everyday Wealth Systems. Can you see? Hopefully you can see the simplistic in my approach and how simple it is. And we're just going to take everyday, ordinary expenses, living things that you do to just go from one day to the next. And we're going to change the way we think about it. And before you know it, you're going to have more of your money for you to then invest in those things that will continue to earn money and keep your money alive. And those dollars will serve you. Okay, so today we talked about the lifeline of money, right? Earnings, savings, investing, luxuries. Most of us go straight from earnings all the way to expenses and luxuries. What did we do? We killed the money, right? We killed the money. How do we keep it alive and give it life so that it then gives us life? We focus here, right? Savings and investing, all right? Saving and investing, and they are two different things. But they're both very important, because what they do is they allow you, it's kind of like setting up your own layaway program for yourself. How about that? That's what savings is. Savings really is your own little layaway. Do you all remember when we used to have Christmas clubs? Am I dating myself? I think they still have them. Your mom would put aside like $2 a week or a month or whatever. And that was your little Christmas fund. And what did it do? It took a little bit of the load off of you come the month of December when you went to buy those gifts for your kids, right? Boy, I tell you, they had some great strategies and little techniques. And so we have to get back in that mind of preserving what we have. Folks, I could go on and on and on with this, and I know you all, got to get ready for work tomorrow. Hey, look, it's been a long holiday weekend, and so hopefully you get yourself ready and you got your clothes out and, the alarms are set and you guys are ready to make it happen, and go in there and do what you do. And have a great day at work tomorrow. I'll see you guys at 8 o'clock. We're going to go for about 45 minutes, and God bless you and have a good night. Take care. Remember, I have a slogan, right? And the slogan is, there is life after debt. Life after debt. And that's what we're working with right here. There's life after debt. Good night, guys. Take care. Remember, share, like, comment, all of that. Introduce it to your friends. You never know whose life you might be helping. All right, guys.